Did you have your training pretty well in place before COVID hit? Did you have a majority of that equipment already in place before it hit, or did you have a response as well to scale it up?
So we had about a fifth of the equipment in place. If I was doing bar napkin math, we had about a fifth of our equipment out in the field. We did have good provider buy-in to noon meetings, right? Noon meetings using teleconferencing, because that's how we would push out education. So we already had provider familiarity with that part. Turned out to be a big point. So what we did as this started ramping up is, I went to my health IT department. This will be the meat. This is what everybody, I think, will benefit from. But then again, who knows? So when we started rolling out our response, I went to my health IT team and I said, listen, I'm not an expert on COVID, but I think we have to treat these patients like a source of radiation. And everybody thought I was crazy. And I said, look, if you have a source of radiation, what do? The first thing you do is you avoid it, right? You try not to have it around. But if you do have it around, you use protective equipment and you try to distance yourself from it. So how can we distance ourselves? Well, the obvious answer is you do telemedicine to people's home. But there are some less obvious answers. For example, you can have a patient come into your clinic and go into an exam room. Then the nurse can perform the patient intake from a different area of the clinic using telemedicine from the site into the room. And now they're more distant from the patient. They're not within 6 feet, right? After the nurse does the intake, then the provider can join the call. And now the provider can deliver the patient care, the office visit, to the patient while they're on site. And then if the patient's off site, you have a separate sort of procedure, but it all results in the same thing. You're keeping people separate. The patients were very fearful of COVID, and they liked that. They liked to be kept separate during this process, and it made it very scalable because the equipment required was so inexpensive, and we did have it on hand, that we rolled out a total of 16 service lines of telemedicine. I won't go through naming them all because it'll take a while, but we rolled out 16 service lines of telemedicine, including EMS pre-hospital, and all of them had slightly unique workflows, but all of them adhered to our basic Visio. And then to train the providers on how to do this, we had noon conferences every day. I can say that we used a Microsoft product for that, Skype for Business Link. And the providers, there was just an all provider, all nursing email that went out, and you could join every day if you wanted to. We had some providers that joined, 8 days in a row. Or if you got it the first time, then you didn't have to join again. You felt like you were competent. Or if you needed a refresher, you could join. So that kept us out of the field. It kept our IT staff out of the field going and doing elbow support or anything like that. And it was very, very beneficial to be able to provide that training. I think training was a big part of it because we didn't mandate anything. We made it good enough that people wanted to use it.